tell us no, no, we can't get enough. Everybody needs a man.
I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a website for your salon or spa business that looks this polished. Seriously, I did this in just a couple of minutes, and you can too, no matter the size of your business. Let's get into it. First, you're going to want to map out your brand aesthetic. You can use Pinterest, Canva.
Oh, Angelo.
Anniversary for one of Chicago's community newspapers may also be its last.
Yeah, WGN's Sean Lewis takes a look at the more than 3 decades of history covered by the Windy City Times.
If we wrote a headline for this together, it may read, "The first draft of history becomes history." At a print shop on Chicago's Northwest Side, the final print issues of a Chicago newspaper are being inked. Folded.
Journalism is the first draft of history, and in the gay community that has certainly been the case.
And put out to the public.
Our very first issue here, we were talking about the Mayor's Committee on Gay and Lesbian Issues that was named
35 years ago.
I'm really proud when I go back and look through these stories.
Journalist Tracy Bain put herself out there too. This daughter of 2 Chicago journalists co-founded the Windy City Times, a newspaper dedicated to covering Chicago's LGBTQ community.
Most people in journalism at that point saw me and called me an activist journalist, right? Like I wasn't seen as a journalist because I was working in gay press and I was openly gay.
Even in the 1980s, being out of the closet was a pretty radical concept, especially in newsrooms. While gay journalists did work in the mainstream press, most kept quiet about it. LGBTQ issues weren't widely covered. The Windy City Times gave those issues voice.
I was covering stories of lesbians losing custody of their children, losing custody of their partners when a partner got disabled, of gay men being kicked out of homes they shared with their partner when that partner passed away. There was stuff that was happening at a crisis point every single day in the community, but yet the mainstream was either ignoring it or vilifying us.
Unions, nightlife, and politics. Nothing was out of bounds, even when it came to being critical of the community it served.
And you also cover the people who abscond with money at organizations and people that are just doing bad stuff in the community. It's hard to cover those things, and people don't want you to sometimes. But to me, the gay community is just a mere reflection of mainstream society. So we have the same isms, we have the same racism and sexism and classism in our community. And if we ignore that, we're just not doing our jobs.
Protests got front-page treatment, as did the deaths in the early years of the AIDS crisis. Actor Rock Hudson died just a week after the paper's first issue went to print.
When you look at these front pages, what do you see?
You know, I see a history of a community through the newspapers that we did. I see a curated version of what was most important in our community in any one week.
The success leading to other papers, among them Black Lines and In La Vida, telling the stories of those communities.
But I thought it was cool to have several publications devoted to a community I was really just starting to find.
Andrew Davis came to Chicago to go to law school and found himself reading the Windy City Times. Eventually, he wrote some articles. He is now the executive editor.
I think if Windy City Times totally disappeared, so many voices would be lost. I just think this community, this city, would have been so different, and it wouldn't have been nearly as connected.
Over the years, the look of the paper has changed, as did the world and the community it covered, the triumphs and the tragedies, and the stories that hit home for many.
About a Black trans disabled person named Garnett Williams who was looking for affordable housing. Thousands of people saw that article online, and I'm sure more saw it in print. And people have actually reached out to us asking how they can help Garnett. It's something that really motivates me to do more and to want to help people and to get more LGBTQ voices to the forefront.
But like so many things it has covered over the years, the paper will soon be different itself. This 35th anniversary print issue that's always been free to the public will also be its last.
Because of the pandemic, our print revenue was hit very hard. I mean, the timing, with it being the 35th anniversary, it just seemed right. It really did.
It's got to be emotional. This is in your blood.
When I've posted that we were going to close the final print edition of Windy City Times, I've heard from hundreds of people saying that when they came out in 1990 or 1992 or whenever it was, they would go into the gay community and get that paper and put it between another paper, like hide it in the Tribune, or just be so afraid of being found out just because they had a gay paper under their bed. And what a lifeline it was to the community in the pre-internet days or even in the early days of the internet. They would be afraid of going online.
It's of note, of course, that the internet may be the saving grace for the Windy City Times.
We were the one-stop place to get that covered.
Her focus now is to try and continue the paper in some form online and to get as many of those back issues archived as possible.
But at least the history we did is findable. So I just want to make sure that the next generations can find us, give them the breadcrumbs. And I'm really, really sad, but I'm also really happy and proud of the hundreds of people that helped make Windy City Times what it was.
Does Chicago still need the Windy City Times?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sean Lewis, WGN News.